Can you take us back to a day in the life of Chill Will growing up in New York, teenage years?
Teenage years, you know, most like any other teenage years. I mean, any other teenagers growing up. But you know, I came up in the hood. You know, I had both my parents, which was a blessing. We you know, trying to get into this hip hop thing, make music, you know. But you know, when we was coming up, it had nothing to do with money, and nothing to do with none of that. It was just kind of like what you loved. It was just for the love, just to do it, you know, because we never it was never like a thing where we were doing it for records and money. We just wanted to be on. Everybody wanted to be that neighborhood celebrity, you know what I'm saying? Just in a 10 block radius, you just want to be known.
Right, right.
You know, much less outside of the state, outside of the city, you know.
Right.
So it was like that. I met Doug in school. Me and Doug met in high school, you know. So we met. Doug was in the ninth grade. I was in 10th grade. So that's how we met through a friend of ours named Mike Shaw, and we've been friends ever since, from ninth grade all the way till now. You know,
Wow.
so it's been a beautiful thing. It's been a beautiful ride. You know.
Right.
Mhm.
Uh, were you guys introduced to music at this point, or was it just merely a friendship starting?
Now we was in. I met Doug banging on the tables, rhyming in the back of the lunchroom. You know what I'm saying? So when the guy introduced us, he knew that you know, hey, you doing something, he's doing something. Let me put y'all two guys together and we see what can happen. So he took me down to the table, introduced me to Doug. Doug's in the back. Doug got a little crowd back there banging on the table, doing the beatbox, you know, doing all kind of stuff. And they rhyming. They got a little cipher going on back there. And I come back there, you know, but he thinks I'm going to rhyme. He think he bringing me back there to rhyme. I was like, yo, they passed it to me. I was like, I got nothing for you. Man, I ain't got nothing for you. I said, I'm a DJ, and this is how we started, you know. And at that point, we started hanging out because we realized how close we lived to each other. Like we only lived about 5 blocks from each other, so we started hanging out on a regular basis, you know. And then one thing led to another, and we just started going everywhere together, doing block parties, doing this, and we still wasn't a group or anything. We were still just two people coming together to do something. And then the people that we were with decided to do other things. Like he had other MCs and DJs that he was with. He was in another group. They started doing something else to make money. And then the people I was with, remember the airbrushing and where air
Yeah,
people
yeah,
got
yeah, yeah.
jackets here. Yo, I used to go to his house to practice, and we supposed to be getting together. He got a stack of t-shirts, like, you know, this high. Like, yo, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that today. I gotta finish all these shirts and jackets and this and that. So we never really, you know, I'm in there practicing, doing my thing. So then me and Doug ended up just combining our thing together. And that's how we got started. You know, at the beginning, it was just me and him, you know.
So this is 10th and ninth grade.
This is ninth and 10th grade in Charles Evans Hughes High School. You
Wow,
know,
wow, okay.
their school was so bad they shut the whole school down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
When the school was bad and they shut the whole thing down, they kicked everybody out. We was all kicked out of the school. Then we ended up going to Martin Luther King, and we ended up being in the same school again. So we
Wow.
went to Martin Luther King together. Then, you know, I mean, we was bad kids, you know, to say the least. You know, so we got kicked out of King too, and we ended up in another school called Park East, which is where we met Teddy Riley. Teddy Riley went to Park East,
Okay,
and Park
okay.
East was basically, if you don't make it in Park East, you're just getting kicked out because there's nowhere else to go. You know, we got nowhere else to take you.
Right.
So it was a lot of people in there. K7, I think, was in there. A couple of people was in that went to that school. You know,
Mm.
so like there's a lot of talent up in that school.
Right.
So just to put it, you know, to give the people watching an idea of the time frame. So what was going on in hip hop at that time? Like you're in 10th grade, Dougie's in ninth. What's playing? What type of music are you listening to? You know, what's on the radio?
That's that's the era of stories, like long stories that ain't real. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a Superman, I'm a superhero, and I'm
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
saving people and stopping
Yeah,
trains
I'm
and
Cosmo D from outer
yeah,
space.
yeah, that kind of thing from outer space and all kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Super Rhymes, you know, Super Rhymes is on fire. Um,
Okay.
uh, um, you know, Rapper's Delight, of course, Spoonie G. Then you got the neighborhood cats like Cold Crush 4, Fearless 4. And then, you know, everybody's making records and doing their thing. You got Mr. Magic on the radio, WHBI. This before you went to BLS,
Right.
and then they giving shows to people. We hearing people that are our age and our demographics and playing hip hop on a radio station. But the crazy thing is just they came on so late at night. It's like you're coming on and the first show is like 2 o'clock in the morning. So, but the dedication to it is that people are up listening. You know what I'm saying? People are up listening at 2 a.m. So hip hop is going somewhere at that point, because for me to stay up to 2 a.m. to listen to a radio station, it's got to be popping. But you couldn't get it on nowhere else. We had all these other stations, but nobody playing hip hop. So you have to go where the hip hop is, and then you start to hear records that you never heard before. They playing songs from people that we never knew even made records. So at this point, you start to get the mentality of, I want to go make a record. We got to make a record too, or whatever. But hip hop was in the raw form then. That's when anything went. You know what I'm saying? There's no real structure. Nobody's doing anything that it don't really have to make sense. You know what I'm saying? Because you listen to some of these stories, you go back to listen to Super Rhymes. He out of control. That whole story is just out of control. So it could be anything at that point. It was no real, like, it got to be this, it got to be this, you got to make it this way, you got to make it that way. It could be anything.
Just have to have fun, sound good, and
have fun, just enjoy yourself and try to do the best you can. You know what I'm saying? And everybody appreciated that. It wasn't like, I gotta be this, I gotta be that. I could be whatever I want at this point. And that's why there's so much versatility back then, because you could do whatever you want. Whatever you felt, that's you. Do you.
Right. And you didn't have anything to say like it's supposed to sound like, just because it was pretty much early on. So you got
So there's no blueprint. There's no blueprint. There's nobody to really follow. Only thing you know is you needed a beat and you can rhyme on top of it. It could be anything else you want. And then a lot of the stuff that was played over. Like, even like A Rapper's Delight was Good Times, but they played it all over. Ain't no samples, ain't no drum loops, ain't none of that stuff. This is a drummer and a bass guitar and pianos, and there's a production going on in this. You know what I'm saying? This is a real production. It's not like, hey, I got 2 samples, put them together, and we gone. But that was, even if that's what you wanted to do, that was your style. If you wanted to sample, that's what you did. If you wanted to play music, that's what you did. And everybody was different. There was so many different flavors. This group, that group, you had large groups back then. You had people that had 8 people in their group. You know what I'm saying? You had 2 DJs and Crash Crew, 2 DJs, 6 MCs, 8 people. That's like Midnight Star type of group.
they were doing it before MC Hammer.
Right, exactly. And even with Hammer, it's really just Hammer.
It's really just Hammer, but the
group. You got to go through 6 MCs to rhyme on a song. You know how long a song is?
Right.
People to get on it, and you can't be like, well, you're not going to be on this song. They all got to be on the song. It's a beautiful thing, man. I loved it.